examinations, that is UPSC, CSC, State Public Service Commission, SSC, CGL, and also the CLAT examinations. So do visit AKSIS Academy, which is one of the premier institutions in India. And about me, I am Sandeep Bhushan Tumala, and my credentials are: I have 10 years of teaching experience for civil services. I teach international relations and internal security and analysis of the Hindu newspaper. And this session will definitely help you to crack prelims and mains examinations, because I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases from the newspaper, that is from the daily news analysis. So the emphasis would be on the keywords and the key phrases, and these keywords and the key phrases, by emphasizing on these, we will definitely make sure that we will identify the factual, analytical and conceptual questions, which will be very important for the preliminary examinations. So thereby, by emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases, we'll definitely identify the factual, analytical and conceptual questions from the daily news analysis. And not only that, it will be useful for the prelims, that is my session, that is daily news analysis, but it will also be useful for the answer writing, that is the mains, in the mains examination. So how it will be useful in the mains examination, that is in regards to the answer writing, is that by imbibing the keywords and the key phrases, by inculcating the keywords and the key phrases in your mains, that is in the answer writing, thereby your answers would be very precise and concise. So how would your answers be precise and concise? Once you get into the mode of inculcating the keywords and the key phrases in your answer writing, so thereby your answers would be precise and concise. And once your answers are precise and concise, which is being demanded by the UPSC, so therefore you will definitely score higher marks in the mains examination. So my session, that is the daily news analysis at AKSIS Academy, will definitely help you, or this session will definitely help you to crack prelims and mains, both for the year 2020 as well as 2021. And we will go ahead with the DNA, that is daily news analysis of today, that is 17th. And when I go throughout my lecture, that is the YouTube session, I would be again reiterating and re-emphasizing the importance of the keywords and the key phrases. So my tagline goes ahead with emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases, wherein it will be certainly useful and beneficial for both prelims and mains examinations, and you will be comfortable even in the interview, that is in the personality test also you will be comfortable. So the daily news analysis at AKSIS Academy will certainly help you in the prelims as well as mains examination and also the interview. So before I get into the topic, I would say a very good morning to all who are in the live and also in the live chat. Jarsingi Hanu, Mali Reddy, Pravan Kumar, Mahesh, all of you, very good morning to you all. And the one who is in the live, please do get into the live chat so that you can clear your doubts if any you have, so that we would have a discussion in the classroom, that is in regards to the daily news analysis. So the others who are in the live can also be the live chat also. Madhu has also joined. Very good morning to you, Madhu. So now I'll get into the topic, that is daily news analysis. But before that, there is a quote of the day. The quote of the day is, don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till tomorrow, do it now. So what is very important is that you need to make sure that you are doing the work today itself, now itself. Today itself. Do not wait for tomorrow. Do not wait for tomorrow. So definitely when you are waiting for tomorrow, it would keep on lagging. So what is important is that you need to stick to that you perform the task today itself, now itself. Do not keep it for tomorrow. You keep it or do it today itself, now itself. Do not keep it for tomorrow. Thereby, what will happen is you will inching very close to your goal, that is to your success. So definitely don't wait till tomorrow, do it now. So all the study, all the preparation, and the way you have focused or you have made sure that we have brought that schedule in place. So do it today itself, do it now itself. And Harika Yadav has joined, Navin Kumar, and then Shekhar, Mukunda, all a warm welcome to you all. Very good morning to you, and warm welcome to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. And the news which talks about is US FDA not for rapid, inexpensive saliva test. So here there is a new game changer. There is a new game changer which has come up. So we will look at what is a game changer in regards to the test. In regards to the test, wherein the game changer is the entire globe is battling against the COVID-19. The entire globe is battling against the COVID-19 pandemic situation, and now the entire globe is into the mode of the diagnostic test, into the mode of the diagnostics test. So it is a game changer for the diagnostic tests which are being taken up across the world. And what is a game changer? That is been approved by the US Food and Drug Administration. So this diagnostics test which has been approved by the US Food and Drug Administration. So that test or the diagnostics test which has been approved by US Food and Drug Administration, which is a game changer, is the Saliva Direct. This is the not the vaccine. Please do understand. It is the diagnostic test. It is the diagnostic test which has been approved by the US Food and Drug Administration, and this will definitely prove to be a game changer. Why it will be proved to be a game changer, we will look at. And why it will be a great game changer is because we have seen into the other kind of test, but this test will definitely have a game changer. But before we get into that, we will look at what or who has actually developed this, who has actually developed it. So it was developed by Yale School of Public Health, Health, and they have detected the virus. That means they have detected the diagnosis test of the Saliva Direct, wherein they would take or they would consider the saliva. They would consider the saliva rather than what is actually happening now is in regards to the NASO. The test is in regards to the NASO pharyngeal swab. So now what is being taken is the swab test. So swab test is being considered now, but the game changer would be the Saliva Direct, because now the test would be taken up by taking the saliva, by making sure that they detect the virus. They detect the virus through the saliva, not through the swab test. That is not through the nasopharyngeal swab test, not through the. Why? Because here we look at the saliva test, the insensitivity or the sensitivity or the test result or the result is very high, because we have seen last week also I was talking about in regards to antigen test, or in regards to the polymerase chain reaction test also, PCR-TC. Even those two are only in regards to the antigen test is only the success is only 50%, and here in regards to RT-PCR test is also in regards to only 70 to 80%. But if you look at the Saliva Direct test, it is almost till 93%. So the success is almost up to 93%. So that will be a game changer. That is why it would be a game changer for the test. And this will be, the virus will be detected in number of virus copying in regards to as low as 6 to 12 copies per microliter. So what do you mean by microliter? Why I have taken this? This is an extra information which I am giving you, which will be very useful for the prelims. You never know, in the public service commission, in the public service commission, they could be like, what is microliter? Because it is part of the saliva direct is in regards to the number of virus copies in the saliva sample is as low as 6 to 12 copies per microliter. So it will be considering per microliter. So when we are talking about the microliter, what is the microliter? The unit, it is a unit of volume. It is a unit of volume per 10 lakhs, equal to 1 by 10 or 10 lakhs. That is in regards to 1 million. So 10 lakh is equal to 1 million. So it is the unit of volume equal to 1 by 10 lakh. That amount, that is called as a microliter in regards to the calculation. So there could be a possibility that the microliter is been asked. So you need to be aware of it. And it is also 1 cubic millimeter. It is in regards to the, if you are looking at 1 of a liter, it is 1 millionth. It is 1 millionth of a liter. If you are looking in regards to the cubic milliliter, it is 1 cubic milliliter. So it will be 10 to the power of minus 6 or 10 to the power of minus 3. 10 to the power of minus 6, it is liter. 10 to the power of minus 3, it is milliliter. So this is very important. This calculation, I mean, in regards to this, how you need to go ahead with looking at the issues differently is very important. So 1 microliter is 10 to the power of minus 6 liters, and then if you are looking at it in regards to the cubic milliliters, it is 10 to the power of minus 3. Why? Because this saliva direct test will be taken as a sample as low as 16 to 12 copies per microliter. So this is very important. 6 to 12 copies per microliter. And then we have looked at this test, we will have the sensitivity, that is the result. The result is in regards to the saliva direct test, or the result of saliva direct diagnostic test. This is a diagnostic test. It is equal to 93%. So the result of this test, diagnostic test, is very high. It's very high, and then it has been developed in collaboration with the Yale School of Public Health. Yale School of Public Health, with along with or partnered with the National Basketball Association and also the National Basketball Players Association. So here you have the National Basketball Association with the National Basketball Players Association with Yale School of Public Health. Three of them have come together in regards to the saliva direct test. So this is again very important in regards to the prelims point of view. Which among the three or who have partnered for the saliva direct test, which would be a game changer? Why a game changer? Because I just said the percentage, the success of the test is 93% compared to RT-PCR, reverse transcriptionist, polymerase chain reaction, or antigen test. If you look at our antibody test, if you look at the three, the more or the higher percentage of the test result is in the saliva direct test. And what is the other point is that when we are talking about the nasopharyngeal test swabs, it is nasopharyngeal swab test. It is definitely uncomfortable because while the test or the samples are being taken, there is lot of irritation. There is lot of irritation in the naso or in the nose, in the nostrils. There is lot of irritation in the nostrils, and thereby what will happen is there is a chance, maximum chance of sneezing and cough. And when the person, that is the one who has come for testing, when that irritation happens, when it is uncomfortable, when he coughs and sneezes, so the one who is actually testing, there is a high chance that that person would be infected, could be infected. But in regards to the saliva direct test, there is nothing called of irritation or uncomfortable or coughing or sneezing, wherein the chances of the SARS-CoV-2 virus being again infected to the one who is actually taking the test or who is going ahead with the diagnostic test. That is why the saliva direct test will be a game changer, and it is also making sure that it is a safe. The frontline or the trained or the healthcare staff will not be affected by the spread of the virus. So all these are the important points wherein it is beneficial, that it would be a game changer. It would be a game changer, and definitely it will reduce the trained healthcare workers. No need of any trained healthcare workers, because the individual can go ahead with the sample test and then later on he can provide it to the healthcare workers. So that would be a game changer one. And Azmat Khan Mohammed has joined, Sivamurthy has joined, Gopinayak have joined. Very good morning to you all. Welcome to a warm welcome to AKSIS Academy Daily News Analysis. And if you look at the new cases in India, 57,361 and 925 deaths on Sunday itself. So definitely that is yesterday. Only one day 925 deaths, and the cases per day is 57,361. So definitely the total number of cases are also increasing. 26 lakhs 46,975 is infected cases, and the total fatality has risen, that is the death cases have risen to 51,021 fatalities as per Sunday. So definitely the saliva test is the new rapid detection test. Is the new rapid detection test of the COVID-19 rapid detection test, and it is a game changer one. And Ashwini Kumar, Teja, Srikant Walu, Rahul, very good morning to you all. Welcome to AKSIS Academy Daily News Analysis. And there is one more news which talks about digital health mission will liberate citizens. Will liberate citizens. So definitely we have seen on the 15th August Independence Day, 74th Independence Day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has unveiled the, this is a keyword, National Digital Health Mission. So there is a mission which is in regards to the health. So definitely the focus has to be on this. So National Digital Health Mission is the one mission which has been unveiled by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So this has to be taken into consideration. Why? Because what is the aim of the NDHM or National Digital Health Mission is it aims at liberating citizens. It aims at liberating citizens of what? Liberating citizens of the challenges. What kind of challenges are we talking about? That the National Digital Health Mission. National Digital Health Mission will liberate the citizens of the challenges. So definitely the challenges are in regards to the finding of the right doctor, the correct doctor, and then also in regards to the seeking appointment, in regards to which doctor would go ahead with giving appointment, and also in regards to the paying consultancy fees, paying consultation fees, and also making sure that there are making several rounds of hospitals for prescription sets. So definitely you need not really roam around, or you need not really roam around various hospitals. So these are the challenges what we have, that who is the right doctor for the ailment which an individual is having or suffering from one disease, and then you need not, what do you say, have any kind of appointment, seeking any kind of appointment, or in regards to prior appointment, and also paying consultation fees, and also making sure that you will have the several rounds going across the hospitals, which hospitals is actually good for having the prescription sheet. So for this, what is important is that our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has unveiled a new mission called as National Digital Health Mission. And when I'm talking about this is certainly very, very important for prelims and also for the mains examination. Why? Because it is in regards to the health. So it is a health mission itself. Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has unveiled, and when we are talking about health mission, definitely it should be taken into consideration both for prelims as well as mains examination. And the challenges here, what I have posed here, is that those challenges will be liberated. I mean, the citizens will be liberated by the challenges through the National Health or National Digital Health Mission. Through the National Digital Health Mission, and these are the challenges which will be erased because of the National Digital Health Mission. And this will act as an health card or health ID card. Look at this. This is a very important news for prelims as well as mains examination. So this, or every Indian will have an health card now. By the National Digital Health Mission, every Indian will have an health card, and this health card will definitely, he has to carry this health card whenever he is visiting a doctor, whenever he is visiting a doctor or a pharmacy in the sense medical shop, so that there it will be logged in. That means it will be having the doctor's appointment, and then what medication you are taking, and that will also prove or also create, or it will be having your entire health profile. Your entire health profile will be available in the health ID card. So this is very important because the government of India is focusing on the health of the citizen, or on the health of the citizen. Definitely they are focusing on the health infrastructure, on the health infrastructure. So part of the health infrastructure, National Digital Health Mission, and that National Digital Mission will definitely make sure that it will liberate the citizens' challenges, and it will have a health card, and those health cards the individual has to carry whenever he is visiting a doctor or a pharmacy. Because what kind of disease or what kind of ailment you are having, the doctor will prescribe there on the card, and also what kind of medication you are actually following will be mentioned in that. And this will create, or it will have an availability, that is your entire health profile will be in the health ID card. This is very, very, what is a good and good news for each and every individual to have the health profile. So once the doctor looks at your health card, he will definitely identify, or you can scan what kind of ailments you are having now, the problems, or in the future, down the line 3-4 years of half a decade or a decade, what were the medications and what was the problem to you. So everything will be in the health card, and that is what our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has unveiled, and that is called as a National Digital Health Mission. This mains point of view, very, very important, and this is definitely by the Ministry of, and this will be taken, or it is under the Ministry of Health and Family. It is under the Ministry of Health and Family. It is under the Ministry of Health and Family, and under the Ministry of Health and Family you have the National Health Authority. So it is the National Health Authority which actually looks into the your National Digital Health Mission, wherein each and every individual will have their health ID card, and this National Health Authority is the one which actually runs, or which focuses Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. I have told about this scheme also. Ayushman Bharat, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Last week also I have said this. So this is what is very important, that is in regards to the government which is focusing on the health of each and every individual or citizens of India, and that is by taken up by the, or it is been run by the, or looked at by the National Health Authority, and National Health Authority is under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Please do understand. So the National Digital Health Mission is under, no doubt, National Health Authority, but it is under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. It is under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and wherein the National Health Authority is the one which looks into the Ayushman Bharat, or it is the one which runs the Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, and this, that is the National Authority or Health Authority, is the one which designs, which builds, and which rolls out the entire plan. That is the mission I am talking about, and implement. What does it do? It is in regards to the National Digital Health Mission. So it is a National Health Authority which designs, which builds, which rolls out, and which implements the National Digital Health Mission. And first it will be tested. It will be tested in the union territories, not in the states. First, the National Digital Health Mission will be tested, or it will be taken up in the union territories, that is of Chandigarh, Ladakh, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Daman and Diu, Puducherry, Andaman Nicobar Islands, and Lakshadweep. So these are the union territories wherein the National Digital Health Mission will be first rolled out, or it will be taken up in the union territories. Please do understand. First, it will be taken up in the union territories. Later on, depending upon how the gaps are there, and then later on again working on the entire structure of it, it will be implemented in the states. And this is, that is the NDHM, that is the National Digital Health Mission, is a voluntary program. Please do understand. Again, why I am saying is, which among the following he would give. So first, it has been implemented in the union territory, and it is a voluntary program, and it comes under the National Health Authority, which is part of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Ministry of Family and Welfare. And the main motto of this is integrating digital health infrastructure. Please do understand this. So the main motto of the National Digital Health Mission is, it is an integrated digital health infrastructure. As I said, Government of India is focusing on the health infrastructure. So when I am talking about the government is focusing on the health infrastructure, so definitely it is focusing on the integrated digital health infrastructure, and that is being unveiled as the mission of government, that is the National Digital Health Mission. National Digital Health Mission. So this is very important news in regards to the mission. Why I am saying this is, you have various missions. You have various missions which the Government of India initiates or has taken up, various missions, and part of this is, you have this health mission, that is National Digital Health Mission, and that is why it is very important both for prelims and also for the mains examination. And Paul has joined, David Paul. Okay, very good morning. Mastan, Ram Kumar, very good morning to you. And we will look at the, what are the core building blocks. So what are the core building blocks of National Digital Health Mission? Why I am saying all this is because, again, for the prelims and also mains point of view, it could be your part of your short notes for the mains examination. So we have looked at how it is actually important, and where it will be tested, for all that it is prelims point of view. And what are the challenges? It will be liberating the challenges faced by the citizens. That is a point short note, which again you can make it for the mains examination. So National Digital Health Mission, it will liberate the challenges faced by the citizens in regards to, I have explained. So right doctors, seeking appointment, paying consultation fees, making several rounds, and it will also have a health card. That is, it will have your entire health profile, what medication you are taking up. So it is an integrated digital health infrastructure. And what are the core building blocks of NDHM is that you will have the health card or health ID, and you will also have the DigiDoctor. That is, digitally you will be having access to the doctor, and you will also have the health facility registry. That means you will have the entire information here, health facility registry, and this will be all this. That is, the entire NDHM will be owned by the, or it will be owned, it will be operated, and it will be maintained by the government of India. The core building blocks are, you will have an health card, you will have access, or you will have the health ID card, you will have the DigiDoctor in the sense online doctor, and then the health facility registry. All the your health profile will be there, that is in the NDHM, and it will be owned, operated, and maintained by the government of India. And why it has come up, why the government has come up with this NDHM? Because the pandemic situation, COVID-19 pandemic situation, which has actually brought the importance of strong health system. So we are having a strong health system that is integrated. As I said here, it is in regards to the integrated digital health infrastructure. So definitely we are getting into the stronger health system, which is integrated digital health infrastructure. And our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also spoken about the menstrual health, about the women. And I've also said that because of the national lockdown, because of the shutdown of the school, I said the young women, last week I did spoke about, the young women are very much falling in shortage, or they're not getting the sanitary pads. I said this. Fine. And even our Prime Minister has spoken about it, that is in regards to menstrual health of the women, and he has also made sure that 5 crore sanitary pads, 5 crore sanitary pads have been distributed. So 5 crore sanitary pads have been distributed to, through what? Through Jan Aushadhi or Kendras. Jan Aushadhi Kendras, JAK. This is important. So you have Jan Aushadhi Kendras, and then 6,000, through 6,000 Jan Aushadhi Kendras, 5 crore sanitary pads at a price of ₹1 have been distributed to making sure that the young women are not feeling or not having shortage of the sanitary pads. So National Digital Health Mission is definitely a probable question for the prelims as well as mains examination. And then Veerachari has also joined, Good Job has also joined. Welcome to AKS IAS Academy. And when we are talking about this National Health Digital Mission, as I said, it is part of Pradhan Mantri or Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. And definitely, as I said, it will have an health ID, and it will also go ahead with personal health records, PHR. Personal health records, you will have a DigiDoctor. You will also have the health facility registry, HFR. Please do understand, these are the only one which are very important for the prelims point of view, and which you can put it in the mains as a short notes. So what are the one? You have the health ID, the personal health records, you have the DigiDoctor, You also have the health facility registry, entire profile, and also about the telemedicine, that is online, and also e-pharmacy. So all these are part of the digital health ecosystem. So this will provide what? It will provide digital health ecosystem. Please do understand this keyword, digital health ecosystem. These are the keywords which have to be mentioned in your answer. Which have to be mentioned in your answer. Digital, so National Digital Health Mission, we is definitely creating a digital health ecosystem, and that is because of the blessing in disguise, because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation. Yeah. There is another news which talks about Suyomoto contempt power is inherited. So what is the keyword here is, we will look at Suyomoto, and the another one is contempt. So Suyomoto is what? Like within yourself you are taking action. That means Supreme Court, without any petition or appeal by any other person or the petitioners, the Supreme Court itself is taking the case, or it is going ahead with taking the case Suyomoto within Supreme Court. So that is Suyomoto. And contempt. Contempt is disrespect. Disrespect. So we have seen the Supreme Court advocate Prashant Bhushan by the Supreme Court has been made sure that yes, he is, or the tweets he has tweeted in regards to the former Chief Justice of India, Ranjan Gogoi. So he has tweeted about him, and that he is definitely in regards to the, that is in regards to the contempt of court or disrespecting the court, and thereby the Supreme Court has said that definitely in regards to the contempt powers. So definitely in regards to the contempt powers, Supreme Court says that we can go ahead with Suyomoto initiative, and we need not take any prior consent. We did not take any prior consent about from the Attorney General of India. So definitely here the Supreme Court has made a statement that they have the power. They have the power to initiate the contempt of court. They initiate contempt of court against. This is in regards to the Supreme Court advocate Prashant Bhushan, as he has tweeted, and that is against or disrespecting the Supreme Court or the judiciary itself. And in that regards, the Supreme Court has said that it has the power, and it need not take any consent in the sense any permission or prior notice. It will not give any consent or prior notice from the Attorney General of India. And it says that we need not take any consent or permission from the Attorney General of India, and we do have the power to initiate the contempt of court as per Article 129 of Indian Constitution. This is very, very important. So Supreme Court has made it very clear that we have gone ahead with the we have initiated Suyomoto, that is the contempt of powers. We need not take any consent from the Attorney General of India, but we have the power to initiate the contempt powers, and that is based on the Article 129 of Indian Constitution, which is enshrined. So this is again very important for prelims point of view. So contempt, Suyomoto, and Article 129. These three are very important for prelims point of view. And also this would be contempt of court, could be definitely a very prospective questions for the mains examination. Prospective question for mains examination. So the contempt, and it says that the court of record, the Supreme Court as a court of record. So Supreme Court as a court of record has the power to punish for contempt of itself. That means whoever have disrespected, contempt, disrespected the Supreme Court or the judiciary itself, or the one involved in the judiciary, judges or the chief justice, former chief justice, they have the power to punish them. And it says the contempt court of act. So there is an act in regards to the contempt of court. Contempt of Court Act of 1971, and what the Supreme Court has said is this Act 1971, Contempt of Court Act 1971, cannot limit these powers of the court. So definitely they say that we have the total power to initiate suo motu, the contempt powers against anyone as per the Article 129, and even the Contempt of Court Act 1979 cannot limit, that means it cannot stop the powers of the court, and the statute only provides the procedure. So definitely the Contempt of the Court 1971 only provides the procedures. What the Supreme Court says is the Contempt of the Court 1971 cannot stop, it cannot limit us from initiating the contempt powers of the Supreme Court against anyone, but the Contempt of Court Act 1971 has provided only the procedure to be initiated. In regards to procedure, what? In regards to the contempt. So this is important. In regards to the contempt only it has. So what we need to focus here is that Article 129, contempt powers of the Supreme Court, Attorney General, no prior notice or consent is required, and the Contempt Court of Act 1971 do not have or cannot limit the powers of the Supreme Court, but the Contempt of Court Act 1971, it provides only the procedure in regards to the contempt. And D. Suvarna has joined. Very good morning. A warm welcome to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. And there was, the court has explained about all this, that it can go ahead with the suo motu and it has a power as per the Article 129, and the Contempt Court of Act 1971 also do not limit the court in regards to taking its suo motu and then punishing or powers of the Supreme Court itself. So it has explained in the entire 108-page judgment, and it is a suo motu contempt case. It is a suo motu contempt case against whom? Against an advocate, Prashant Bhushan, for his tweets. And then the court says that the lawyer was found guilty of contempt. So the Supreme Court has found that the advocate, that is Prashant Bhushan, has been guilty, has found to be guilty because of contempt, because of his tweets. He has tweeted because of his tweets. So now the question mark is whether you tweet is equal to contempt. Please do understand this. Is tweet is equal to contempt. Please do understand. This is a concept. The entire my explanation for almost 10 to 12 minutes. This is a concept. If a tweet, does it fall under the contempt of court? This is how you need to focus. Analyzing is this. Analysis is this. Yes, the Supreme Court verdict is what is that it is a news, but what is the analysis is tweet equal to contempt? That is the analysis what you need to do for mains point of view. And the court states its cognizance matter is purely between the court and the contemptor. So definitely the Supreme Court also says that now once the initiation has been taken, that is through suo motu, now the entire it will be settled. It is between only the court and the contemptor, that is the Prashant Bhushan advocate. And definitely it says that the procedure is followed just and fair. That means they make it very clear that the entire procedure in regards to the founding the Prashant Bhushan advocate as guilty because of contempt of court. This is in regards to principles of natural justice. So it will be on the principles of natural justice. So definitely natural justice. So again the keyword here is natural justice. This is a keyword which you need to focus. So here contempt of court, natural justice, Article 129 and the Contempt of Court Act 1971. All these are the keywords which you need to focus for prelims and mains point of view. And the other news which you have is RBI to transfer 57,128 crore surplus to center for financial year 2021. So the Reserve Bank of India has approved for transferring 57,128 crore rupees. To whom? To the government. To Government of India. To Government of India. But last year, if you look at, it has transferred 1.76 lakh crore rupees. This is very important that you need to understand the facts. How much the RBI has transferred fund to the Government of India. This year it is 57,128 crore. Last year it is 1.76 lakh crores of rupees. That is the amount of surplus or the amount of dividend it gets through the banks, through the banking system. That is in regards to the loan facilities, providing loan facilities and the principal interest and all that. It will have or it will generate revenue, and that money last year it has transferred to the center 1.76 lakh crores, which included 1.23 among this 1.23 lakh is as a dividend, what they have got as a dividend, that is excess amount dividend, and 52,637 is then excess provision. So that provision, that is the amount, and the dividend both together is 1.76 lakh what they have transferred, that is RBI has transferred last year to the central bank. Central bank had transferred to the Government of India, and this year the RBI had transferred 57,128 crore. So definitely the amount of money has come down what the government has wanting from the RBI, and now the board has reviewed the entire current situation because of the global and domestic challenges what the country and that is India and the world are facing, the global challenges. Because of that, the RBI felt that yes, definitely we need to go ahead with transferring the money to mitigate the economic impact, to lessen the economic impact, to reduce the economic impact, so that the money would add some kind of breather to the Government of India. But what the RBI has maintained is it has decided to maintain contingency. Please do understand, this is the keyword here again, contingency risk buffer. This is a keyword. So definitely it will have the buffer of money, liquidity. So the contingency risk buffer is now the RBI is keeping it at 5.5%. Please do understand this. The RBI has transferred money of 57,128 crores to the Government of India, but they have kept the risk buffer, contingency risk buffer at 5.5%. So there has to be buffers with the RBI, and that is now at the 5.5% contingency risk buffer. So here the RBI transfer of funds as a surplus. So all these are what? they are the surplus amount. So this is the surplus amount which is at RBI, which is at RBI. So the surplus amount which is at RBI, which is lying idle, RBI board of RBI Reserve Bank of India have approved the transfer of 57,128 crores. So last year it was 1.76 lakh crores, and they have decided the contingency risk buffer is the key word. And then because of the global and domestic challenges, they have transferred the money to mitigate in the sense to lessen the economic impact on the government of India. And Bhaskar Rao has also joined. Very good morning to you, Bhaskar Rao. A warm welcome to AKSIS Academy Daily News Analysis by me, that is Sandeep Bhushan. And this will only partly bolster, that is, it will definitely help the center, but it will be a very partly, it will be minimal. Why? It will definitely or just be partly, and it is unlikely to bridge. That means that amount will not create a kind of what the government is facing, the financial crunch, that will not be totally bridged in the sense it will not fill the gap. It will not fill the gap. What gap are we talking about? The financial gap. The financial gap which is at, it will not fill it, but it will have a partly, that the RBI surplus amount which has been transferred to the government of India will partly make sure that it is trying to make sure that it is handling the global and domestic challenges because of the COVID-19. And then the board also has discussed that they have a proposal to set up an innovation hub. So it will go ahead with proposing an innovation hub, starting an innovation hub. And what the RBI has said is, this is again very important, that this financial year will be from June, July. RBI said that this year or this financial year will be from June, July, and this financial year will be 9 months financial year. 9 months financial year. Generally it is 12 months, but this time the RBI is making it very clear, it will be 9 months financial year. So what is contingency risk buffer? The contingency risk buffer means it is provisioning made from economic capital. So the money, economic capital is the money, economic capital to cover. So whatever in regards to monetary risk, fiscal stability or fiscal instability and credit operation risks are there, those will be taken care through the contingency risk buffer, and this is the provisioning of it. So definitely the capital requirement, the economic capital requirement by the government of India at this moment will definitely make sure that it will, the transfer of fund will support the government, but the RBI has kept the contingency risk buffer at 5.5%. And the other news is in regards to the UAE Israel established direct phone services. So after the peace deal, so you have a peace deal, that is in regards to the UAE, United Arab Emirates, and then Israel have gone ahead with the peace deal. This is very, very important in regards to the international relations, in regards to the GS paper 2 for mains point of view and current affairs, right? So the keyword is the United Arab Emirates and Israel have gone ahead with the peace deal. So they have gone ahead with the peace deal on, and it was announced, this peace deal was announced by the US President, that is Donald Trump, on August 13th, 2020. So August 13, 2020, the US President Donald Trump have announced the UAE Israel peace deal. peace deal, and this peace deal is the third peace deal. So, which third peace deal? That is Israel with UAE is the third peace deal. That means Israel with UAE and Israel with, you have the other one is Turkey, Israel with Egypt. So the first peace deal between Israel and Egypt is the first, Israel and Turkey is the second peace deal. This is again conceptually, it is very important peace deal. And also for the prelims point of view, Israel UAE peace deal is the third peace deal or such accord which Israel has struck with the Arab countries, and there is a probability that there is many of the experts are making it very clear that there would be a similar kind of deals. What is peace deal? Similar kind of peace deals with the other or pro-Western Gulf countries. So there could be possibility that the other Gulf countries would also have the peace deal accord with Israel. Please do understand, this is a very important happening in the Middle East or West Asia and Middle East or Persian Gulf countries, and then in regards to the Middle East countries. So the entire happening is the one, the peace deal. This is a historic peace deal and which has really made sure that it will normalize the relations between Israel and UAE or the Arab countries. And Donald Trump has made it very clear that both of them, that is Israel and UAE, will go ahead with signing the deal. Would go ahead with the, it is, I said they have announced, please do understand, they have announced, US President has announced the Israel UAE peace deal on August 13, 2020, but the signing of the deal would take place in White House, that is in US White House, and almost from August 13, 3 weeks later, the signing of the UAE Israel peace deal will take place in the White House. So what is important, the peace deal is, we have to also focus on the other peace deal which has taken up this year, which US President Donald Trump has mediated, is the Taliban peace or Afghan Taliban peace deal or Taliban peace deal, or to be more specific, US Taliban peace deal. So this is definitely in regards to the Taliban and the Afghanistan government, that peace deal wherein US has been part of it. So once we are talking about the peace deal between UAE and Israel, now we need to focus on in regards to UAE plus the peace deal with Turkey, and also extremely sorry, it is UAE and Israel, or Israel and UAE is the third one. Second one is in regards to Jordan. I'm extremely sorry. The first one is in regards to the Egypt. I'm extremely sorry, I take back my words. The second one is Jordan. Please do correct yourself. Please do correct. Jordan, Egypt, Jordan and UAE, because we have seen 1947, 1948, 1967 there was war, and 1967 there was 6-day war, wherein Israel has a 6-day war, and the other side was Egypt was there, Jordan was there, Lebanon was there, even in regards to Syria was there. So all this, I mean, even Palestinians, Arab countries, all this, but still Israel has won over all the countries in what do you say 6-day war in 1967. So Jordan, Lebanon, Jordan. So the second one is Jordan, first one is Egypt, and the third one is UAE. And under this deal, there is a possibility that Israel has pledged to suspend, because Israel is wanting to annex the West Bank. West Bank is part of the Palestine. So this is how actually Israel looks, and part of this is the Gaza Strip. Gaza Strip. This is, and then you have another one here. This is West Bank, and then Gaza Strip plus West Bank is Palestine. So Israel has pledged to actually wanted to annex the West Bank also, but because of this deal, it has pledged to suspend. That means it will stop its plan of annexation of West Bank. That is part of the Palestine, and this has been welcomed by many of the pro-Western Arab governments. So earlier, the Prime Minister of Israel, that is Benjamin Netanyahu, had gone ahead with making sure that it will annex the Jewish settlements in the West Bank. So you have Sheikh Mohammed bin of UAE, and then Donald Trump, and the Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And the question for the day is, courts exist to promote justice. Courts exist to promote justice. By adjudicating on disagreements. By adjudicating on disagreements. Please do understand once again, I'll read it. Courts exist to promote justice by adjudicating on disagreements. That means, what do you mean by adjudicating? That is making a formal judgment or hearing the agreement, hearing the case or examining the case. So whenever the court, here it is a statement, the court actually exists. Why? Courts exist. Why? Why do they exist? Because they exist to promote what? Justice. How they promote justice? By adjudicating. That is, by they promote justice. They promote justice. That is, the courts exist and they promote justice by adjudicating. That is, making a formal judgment or hearing or examining on disagreements. So discuss. So here the court has to promote justice. So this is in line with the content of court. The judgment given by the Supreme Court in regards to the contempt of court against Prashant Bhushan, the advocate of Supreme Court, Prashant Bhushan, for his tweets. So courts exist to promote justice by making a formal judgment, hearing or examining on disagreement. So here the disagreement is by the advocate Prashant Bhushan. So when it is the court has to give justice, it is making sure that yes, contempt of court against the Prashant Bhushan. So how it is, what do you say, whether it is right or wrong, on the sidelines of the judgment given by the Supreme Court, delivered by the Supreme Court on the contempt of court against Prashant Bhushan because of its tweets, please write the answer. Courts exist to promote justice by adjudicating on disagreement. So here the disagreement was by Prashant Bhushan, so he has tweeted. So was there anything wrong on it, and then how it has to be taken into consideration? You have to please make a note. Write the answer. So discuss about it. And in regards to the recapitulating, so we have looked at this in regards to the SNT, that is how the saliva test will really be useful for the rapid, inexpensive diagnostic test. And again, in regards to the digital health mission, this is again very important in regards to the scheme or the mission, which will be very important for the prelims as well as mains examination. And again, in regards to the polity point of view, the contempt of court, wherein the court says that as per article 129 they have the power. Again, in regards to the economy, here we have looked at the contingency risk buffer. Contingency risk buffer, this is an important conceptual point or term for the economy point of view. And again, in regards to this deal, that is UAE Israel deal, peace deal, in regards to the international relations, current affairs. So I hope definitely my session or this session, daily news analysis, was informative, knowledgeable, and it will certainly help you for prelims as well as mains examination. And I would thank you, and I would also say a good luck to you. And Ranjit Kumar has joined, Bhaskara has joined. A warm welcome to you, both of you, to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. And please go ahead with liking the video, share the video, and subscribe the video of AKS IAS Academy, that is Advanced Knowledge System. You can also visit the AKS IAS Academy website, and also you can also subscribe to the Telegram link of AKS IAS Academy. So I would again see you tomorrow at 7:30 AM for the daily news analysis. And what I would reiterate or once again make it very clear, that is, please do stick to your or maintain consistency, stick to your schedule, whichever schedule you have jot down or prepared, and then take care of your physical and mental health. And definitely my sessions will be helpful for you for both prelims and mains examination, that is the daily news analysis at AKS IAS Academy. See you tomorrow at 7:30 AM.